So Dereck Chisora and Joseph Parker have finally signed to fight each other because they've been going back and forth for several months, acting like they want to fight each other, but each side accusing the other of not really wanting it and just acting like they want it. They've now signed so we can put all the speculation to bed. They'll face off on October 26th at the O2 Arena in London. It's actually shaping up to be a pretty good card. You got Regis Prograis against Josh Taylor. Top of the bill, we got Chisora Parker on the undercard. Also, Ricky Burns against Lee Selby could be interesting. And Lawrence Okoli challenging for the EBU, the European Cruiserweight title, against Yves, I don't know how to pronounce that. I guess it's a French name. Ngabou, I think that's how you pronounce the surname. And again, he's an unbeaten 20-0 cruiserweight based out of Belgium. And he's the current cruiserweight, European cruiserweight champion. So that could be interesting as well. You got Conor Benn on there, and I'm sure they'll put some more names on the card over the next few weeks. But as far as this Dereck Chisora, Joseph Parker fight, Chisora has wasted no time since the fight has been signed in commencing with the trash talking. So I'm going to quote Del Boy directly here. He says, "I've wanted this fight over a year now. Parker, the Aussie kangaroo, fled for the bush once already this year, complaining he didn't have enough time to prepare. I've now given him all the time he needed. I'm a real fighter. I'm always ready to go to war. Spilker felt what Dereck War Chisora is all about, and he was my friend. And trust me, that was just 30% of what I've got for the Aussie bum. I'm going to do what Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz both couldn't do. I'm going to knock Parker's dingo ass clean out and send this Aussie chump back to the other side of the planet where he belongs." So those are the words of Dereck Chisora. Now, the first problem, of course, is that Joseph Parker is not Aussie. He's from New Zealand. Okay? Two different countries. People from New Zealand are called Kiwis. They're certainly not called Aussies, etc., etc. Perhaps Dereck Chisora knows this anyway. Maybe he's trying to get under Joseph Parker's skin by deliberately calling him an Aussie. The implication being that New Zealand is just that country somewhere near Australia, which isn't as big and isn't as important. So maybe he's doing that and just, throwing him in the Aussie camp and acting as though New Zealand is an irrelevance as a country from a boxing perspective. Or perhaps Dereck Chisora just is that ignorant and doesn't realize that Joseph Parker is not actually Australian, he's from New Zealand. Who knows? But yeah, the trash talk has started. Dereck Chisora is obviously hoping to try and sell as many tickets as possible. We know that he once famously hustled Eddie Hearn out of some extra money. I think it was for which fight was it for? Was it the Takam fight? I think it was for the Takam fight. He hustled Eddie Hearn out of extra money for that fight by threatening to pull out or saying that he was injured and he might pull out, and Eddie Hearn gave him like an extra 20 grand or something. And then after the fight, in the post-fight interview, Dereck Chisora says, "I actually wasn't injured. I just did it to hustle some money out of you, Eddie." Nice way to hustle 20 grand out of Eddie Hearn. So yeah, interesting fight. Dereck Chisora versus Joseph Parker. Parker, being a former world champion, having beaten people like Andy Ruiz, he really should have the pedigree to be able to deal with Dereck Chisora. If he was able to get a win over Ruiz, I know it was a very close fight against Ruiz, but Ruiz has got much faster hands than Dereck Chisora. He's a more skilled fighter. But Chisora is more relentless than Ruiz. That's the thing. It's like in the lead up to AJ Miller, the fight that never happened, I was talking about how Miller is relentless. And when it got switched over to Ruiz, I said that it's a different kind of problem with Ruiz because he's a pressure fighter, yes, but he doesn't rely on volume. He's a guy who counterpunches on the front foot. Dereck Chisora relies on volume. He's going to come at you, apply constant pressure, hit you wherever he can hit you, and try and force openings. Try and just wear you down and grind you down. That's what he's going to be looking to do to Joseph Parker. Can Joseph Parker deal with that? If he boxes the way he did against Andy Ruiz, I think he should be able to deal with it. But if he boxes the way he did against, let's say, Carlos Takam or Dylan White, then he's going to come up against some serious problems. Yeah. Now, one thing we have to watch out for with Dereck Chisora is his punch resistance, because it could be deteriorating. He's been knocked out badly twice in his career now, once against David Haye and the second time against Dillian Whyte. And when a fighter has suffered several devastating knockout losses like that, their punch resistance does tend to start going downhill. I'm not saying Dereck Chisora's punch resistance is terrible right now, but we're going to find out a lot more about it against Joseph Parker, I think, because although Parker is not one of the biggest punchers in the division, I certainly think he hits harder than the likes of Senad Gashi or Artur Spilka. And those are the two fighters that Chisora has fought since that second knockout defeat of his career to Dillian Whyte, the first one again being against David Haye. So Parker's going to hit Chisora with some stuff, especially early. That's when Chisora has always been most vulnerable, is early in a fight. Although obviously he got knocked out late against Dillian Whyte, but he was hurt in the first round against Dillian Whyte, if you remember, by a fairly innocuous looking right hand by Dillian Whyte standards. But that had Dereck Chisora all wobbly. And of course he was hurt many years ago in the first round against Helenius. He was also hurt against I can't remember if it was Edmund Gerber or it was the other guy, Parla. One of those guys hurt him as well fairly early in the fight. So he's even more vulnerable early than he is late. So if Joseph Parker's able to land, and Joseph Parker's fast, we all know he's got quick hands. If he's able to land some quick shots on Chisora, you never know. But then again, Chisora has got this new physique. He's now with Dave Coldwell. He's punching a lot more cleanly and probably more powerfully now than he's ever done before in his whole career. And this is really testament to the fact, as you know, I've been saying this for years, you can improve your punching power. When Dereck Chisora first came on the scene, certainly when he was British heavyweight champion, he used to slap with his punches. He never used to turn his punches over properly and hit with the knuckle. Nowadays, Dereck Chisora hits with the knuckle virtually all the time. So what changed? You know, you can improve your punching power by changing, and it's not just about pumping weights and all this kind of stuff. In fact, if you do too many weights, it will hurt your punching power. It's about correcting your technique. Now, if you do a certain amount of strength training along with correcting your technique, then yeah, that can help you improve the power, but the technique is the key. Learning how to turn your punch, it's the body mechanics, the punch mechanics that you have to learn. And all of that is muscle memory, repetition, not only hitting the bag, certainly not hitting the pads, because hitting the pads, to some degree, it can help with power, but not that much. Hitting the bag is going to help you with power a lot more than hitting the pads. So hitting the bag and hitting it correctly, okay, making sure you're turning your punches over when you hit the bag. And another thing which will help your punching power, which some people really underestimate, but I've used it myself, I've taught other people to do it the right way, and they've improved their punching power tremendously, is shadow boxing. Shadow boxing the right way, because most fighters do not shadow box in a way which will allow you to improve punching power. Okay, they just tend to push their arms out there as if it's some kind of little warm-up, you know? When you're shadow boxing, you should be looking to throw punches as if you're throwing them at an actual target. So you should be looking to rotate your hips, bend your knees, and punch through an invisible target. Visualize where the target is and punch with snap and force when you're shadow boxing through that target. Don't worry about throwing a million punches. Concentrate on quality, not quantity. Yeah, until you've got your technique down. Trust me on this one. Once you are doing this on a regular basis, when you're shadow boxing the correct way on a regular basis, you'll find that it improves your punching power, because it's the muscle memory of the punch mechanics that you're drilling into your body. That you're not punching at a target, you're punching all the way through. You're bending your knees, you're rotating your hips. You're articulating your body in a particular way to generate maximum force. You're building up the fast twitch muscle fibers in your hips, so you get that real fast turn in your hips when you're throwing a shot over. These are the kind of things that doing shadow boxing the right way can improve. I don't know if Dereck Chisora has been doing any of this kind of stuff, but all I'm telling you is you can improve punching power. There's certain coaches who tell you, oh, you can't really improve your punching power. Oh, yes, you can. I'm not saying everybody can necessarily do it, but a very large proportion of people will be able to improve their punching power significantly if they implement the correct training methods, you know. So anyway, and also if they have the right mindset, because it is a mindset hitting hard. But anyway, Dereck Chisora against Joseph Parker. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you like the matchup? Who do you think is going to win? Do you think Parker can get back on track and back into the upper echelons of the heavyweight mix? Or do you think Dereck Chisora is going to claim the Parker scalp? Because really and truly, what's the best win on Dereck Chisora's record? It's probably Carlos Takam, isn't it? That's the biggest name he's got on his resume in terms of wins. Some might say Hellenius, but that's not an official win on his record. The Takam win is actually an official win. Doesn't have great names, you know, other than Takam. Takam's not a great name, but he's a respectable name. So Joseph Parker, if he was able to get that scalp, would be by far the biggest win on Chisora's resume. And he might end up, if he can get that win, with a world title shot at some stage. Who would have believed it? And, you know, God knows what he could do if he does get into a position to challenge for a world title. I'm sure that he'd be a massive underdog against any of the champions. But, you know, there are Cinderella stories in boxing. Just ask James J. Braddock, you know, if you could go back and ask him in a time machine. So, anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who's going to win this fight? It's happening. I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.